Hello everyone, welcome to the round 8 of the Women's World Chess Championship between Wenjun and Zhongyi. In this game, the point was 5.5 and 2.5, and Zhongyi would need to win this game because she was down 3 points. And let's see what she going to do in these games. So let's further do and let's see what happens on the chessboard. So Tanjungi with the white pieces and opened the game with the e4, and Wenjun responded with the e5, and now we have the knight c3, Vienna game. Why I say Tanjungi, Wenjun responded with the knight f6, and we have Falk Bear defense. And in this game, Tanjungi could play f4, and after that d5 is coming, f takes e5, knight takes e4, and after knight f3, bishop c5 is possible, like threatening to take fork between queen and the rook, and after d4, bishop b4 and pinning the knight, and it's kind of good for black. But anyway, after knight f6, Tanjungi played bishop c4, knight c6, and in the lower level it's kind of could be happens, it's a trap, and it's knight takes e4, and the response is different because in lower level your opponent could take the knight, and it gives black the opportunity to put the pawn on d5 and put the fork between knight and bishop. And after bishop g3, pawn takes d4, bishop takes d4, and f5 is happening, and the position is so good for black. But in the higher level, like grandmaster's game, the queen on h5 and threatening the checkmate, and after that the knight on d6 is kind of forced. Queen takes e5, queening 7 and exchanging the queen, and it's kind of ugly because the knight on d6 is kind of blocking the pawn. And anyway, so if your opponent is low, could have make a mistake, and it's kind of could be good for you. Anyway, bishop c4, knight c6, d3, and now we have bishop b4 pinning the knight, knight f3, and now we have d6, castle by Tanjungi, bishop takes c3, b takes c3, castle by Wenjun, and we have bishop j5. So before the castle, she could have played h6, but anyway, bishop j5, h6, kicking away the bishop and asking what move you wanna do. Are you playing h4, or are you playing all the way to e3? Bishop h4 is played, and now we have knight a5. It's kind of reasonable because threatening the capture on the knight and turnable the pawns on the c file, and kind of c5 is could be happen. Bishop b3, and now knight takes b3 is happens, a takes b3, queen a7, rook e1, queen e6, and let's see what is she going to do against this undeveloped bishops and the rook. This bishop is on c8, and it's kind of noisy because the rook hangings on a8, and it's kind of bad for rook's connections. d4, knight d7, d5 could happen and kind of kicking away the queen, but it's kind of looks not good. But he played, I mean, why I say she played queen d3, a6 is happen, and it's kind of reasonable because she wants to put the pawn on b5 and develop the bishop on b7 and put in is big diagonal. Rook a d1, rook e8. It's kind of putting the f5. It's coming on the next move and putting rook queen away. Bishop g3, and now we have b5, and finally bishop b7 is coming. Knight d2, and now we have knight f6, b4, b4 stopping kind of c5 and a7 actions. Knight h5, trying to exchange bishop and the knight b3, and now we have queen g6, d takes e5, and before the capturing the pawn, she takes on g3. Always we had the analyze the man's game, so this game is kind of doing me make mistake about he and she. So h takes g3, she takes on with the h, making room for king, and now rook takes e5. Knight a5 is kind of tricky move because stopping the bishop from the b7 and stopping bishop from the e6. So if e6 would happen, knight c6, main threat of the rook, of course, and then threatening to put the knight on e7 and taking the fork and king and the queen. If bishop c4 is happen, it's not helping at all, because after knight takes e5, the queen is hanging and it's kind of game over or GG for black. So bishop d7 is happened, stopping the knight from the landing on c6, rook e3, rook a e8, doubling the rook on the e file, rook d1, same way. So I missed the move, so f5 could have been happen. It's kind of looking good for black because of it takes f5, and now bishop takes f5, threatening the queen, and now the c2 pawn is falling after moving like queen e2 or queen d2. Rook takes e3, queen takes e3, and now rook takes or bishop takes c2. What I said, rook takes e2. Or first of all, the putting rook on the e file and kicking away the queen, and after like queen d2, bishop takes c2, and it's winning game for black. But anyway, doubling the rook on the e file, rook e1, and now we have f5. So what exactly you would do in this position? Feel free to pause the video and find the perfect move for white while I give you guys a couple of seconds. The perfect move is kind of tricky, but it's engine recommendations. It's e takes f5, and after bishop takes f5, attacking to the queen like queen d2, rook takes e3, rook takes e3, and after exchanging the rooks, not taking with the pawn, it makes a pawn setup ugly. Queen takes and bishop takes c2. White have the move of queen a7, and he will definitely get back the pawn. So after that, after f5, Zhongyi didn't see that, and she played queen d4, and it makes everything different because of the rook takes e4. rook takes e4, and after exchanging the rooks, f takes e4, and Wenjun is up a pawn in these positions, like c4. So what I said about the queen a7, it's kind of not working here, because after king h7, knight b3, and now e3 is coming and forcing the queen to come back, because taking the pawn, it makes the pawn setups ugly. After queen takes e3, now queen takes c2, attacking the knight, and after all the moves, there were Wenjun can make two pass pawn in this position, and definitely there is no defense against it. So c4 happened. It's not good too, and now e3 by Wenjun. So e3, it's kind of, again, it's so tricky to play. It's want to take this pawn and giving this pawn against it. Queen takes e3, queen takes c2, and what is the good play for her? Absolutely taking this pawn, because after a takes b5, it's losing too, but it's better than nothing. Like queen d4, and after king h7, f3 could happen, and bishop f5, and now c5 is coming, and as I said, there is a two passed pawn and there is no good defense against it. So she played queen a7, b takes c4, making a pass pawn, queen takes c7, and now bishop b5, defending the pass pawn, and she will be definitely move with the pass pawn in the next moves. Knight b7, so there is no time for taking this pawn. So let me explain it. As I taking this pawn, c3 is coming, and after like queen e6 check, king h7, there is good a place to put the king off, because the queen on c2 and there is no following checks. After knight b3, bishop a4 is coming, knight c5, but I played d4, knight c5, and queen d1 check, and after king h2, queen h5, king g1, and now c2, and there is just game over. So anyway, as I said, there is no time to taking this pawn, because this pawn is marching forward. Knight b7, and now we have c3. Knight takes d6, queen d3, keeping this diagonal for the queen and making sure there is no following check, and there is game is saving, and the game is saved. Queen f7 check, king h7, and now knight f5, threatening to checkmate on g7. Queen d7, stopping the checkmate, and now exchanging the queens by Zhongyi. Knight d4, and knight d4 is kind of blocking the pawn from the pushing forward, but there is too many moves to do that, like playing bishop b5 and cutting the f1 from the king, and make him to move f3 first to make the king closer to the pawn. Bishop a4, and after knight e2, c2 is coming, and after knight c1, the king have to come closer to grab this pawn, and this king will be grabbed these pawns, and the simply is game is just over. Anyway, bishop a4 is played by Wenjun, and she want to just put the c2 no matter what. Knight e2, c2, and now we have f3, knight defending the c1. Good job, but king g6, and who going to stop this king? King f2, bishop b5, threatening the capture on the knight and put the queen on the next move. Knight c1, and the knight is in the weak is possible, and it's so weak because it jobs to make sure the pawn never going to see c1. It's so funny seeing c1. h5, king e3, and now king g5, king d2, and now bishop f1, trying to capture these pawns. Knight b3, bishop takes g2, knight d4, and what move Wenjun is played in this position, it was so strong, and he sacrificed the bishop, and she said, while I have two connected passed pawns, I don't need any bishops, and my two passed pawns is even stronger than your knight. Knight takes f3 is up, of course it's coming by the force. King g4, and now knight d4. King takes g3, knight f5 check, and now king g4. So knight can take the pawn, but she can't, because knight takes g7, and after h4 there is no way to stop this pawn, and the game is losing. So she know that, and he played knight e3 with the check, king f3, knight takes c2, h4, knight e1 check, king g3, king e3, oh, what I said, king e3, not e2, h3, and knight f3, h2, and in these positions on move 53, Zhongyi resigned the game because there is nothing to do against it, and the points makes 6.5 to 2.5. So why she resigned? Because after knight takes h2, king takes h2, somebody just can think the king is too close this pawns. But this pawn, it doesn't matter now, because the main point is this one. So after following the moves, as I'm going to show you guys faster, as you can see, the king is squaring this these places b3, b2, and b3, and there is no way to white king to make congress. So after king d3 and a5, as I'm showing you guys, this pawn is marching forward and the game is over. So thank you guys for watching this video until the end. I'm glad you will make me what I must say. So thank you guys. So if you like it, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe our channels. Let's push it forward to 100 subscribers. And if you like it, let's copycat the Agad and send this video out for your friends, this time in the park or library or bar or library. So anyway, thank you guys for watching this video. If you have any idea about the next video, feel free to put it in the comment sections and I will make it for you guys. So thank you, and I will see you guys in the next video. Take care.